Hello YouTube and welcome to tutorial number 28 in the PHP programming tutorial series. And before I start this video, I just need to make one little request. I don't mind answering messages, it's fine. I'll answer messages, any questions you have, send me a PM. But there are two things I want you to do before you message me. Number one, look through my videos because the answer might already be on a video, so you don't have to wait for me to answer. And number two, if you do want to ask a short question, ask it on the comments section of the video, because that way, if I answer it on the comments, then that question's already been answered to someone who maybe has the same question, so it helps them as well. Because I have hundreds and nearly 1,000 unread messages, and it is really time consuming for me. I don't mind, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it would be easier if you did it that way for both of us, or sorry, all of us. But moving onto the video. In the previous video we looked at how to create a table through a MySQL query in PHP, and we're going to be going back to the SQL syntax again in this video and looking at how to insert values into a table that we've made. So let's just look at this users to table we made in the previous video. If we click on browse actually, because we have entries, we have the ID, username, password, first name and last name. We have all of those columns there in this table, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we added a little mock entry through the PHP MyAdmin panel here. But what we want to do in this video is actually add data through a PHP file without accessing this PHP MyAdmin. That way users can add their own entries into a database. So we're just going to click on, if you click on the accounts here, back to the main database accounts, and you should see empty or clear on the database. Just click that, because that way we can get rid of the mock information that we've already got in it. Okay, so back to the coding. Let's start coding this main application. Okay, so the first, obviously we need to create our PHP opening and closing tags, so it recognizes a PHP file. We're going to call this data.php. Okay, so we need to start this off exactly as we started off the previous tutorial. And if you remember, all we did was we created a connection to the MySQL database, then we selected the database accounts, and then we made our own table called users2. So what we're going to do, as we did in the last tutorial, whoops, it's pound sign, make a variable called accounts, and that's going to be MySQL_connect, and in brackets we need our 3 parameters, which the first is localhost, which is the server, then a comma, and then the second is going to be the username, root, and the third is the password, and mine is password. Now it's important to note that these 3 values will be different depending on what you're working on. Excuse me. So my username and password is customized to root and password. Yours might be different. And obviously if you're using a external database, localhost won't work for the address. Okay, so underneath this you need to type or die in brackets MySQL_error, and then finish that off with a semicolon. And now we need to select our database, and this is called accounts. You might have called yours something different, so if you go onto your PHP MyAdmin, it should be called up here. You go to localhost, you have a list of databases. If you remember, we called ours accounts. So if you're coming straight from this video and you haven't watched a previous one, your database might be different, so you need to put whatever the name of the database is. So we type MySQL_select_DB, and then in brackets, and the first parameter is the name of the database, accounts, and then we have a comma, and after that we need to put the variable which holds our connection, which is up here, accounts. Okay, so this is where it gets different. So we're just going to create our MySQL_query code down here. So type MySQL_query, and then in brackets we want first our query, which is going to be held in the SQL variable. We're going to determine that in a second, don't worry. And then have a comma, and then have another variable which is our connection up here, accounts. Okay, so now it's time to look at the SQL syntax on how to insert data into a table. So we'll first create our string variable here, which is this SQL that we're putting inside the brackets. Sorry, I woke up with a bit of a sore throat. It's kind of hurting my voice, but what we need to do to insert data is simply type insert into, and this insert tells SQL that we want to insert data, and when we say into, after this we need to type the name of the table. And once again, if you're watching this from the previous tutorial, we named our table as users2, but if you're watching this because you've stumbled across this video, you need to type the name of your table, which is right here, and obviously ours is users2. So we'll just type users2, insert into users2. It's quite logical when you think about it. And the next thing we need to do is specify the fields in the table what we want to insert into. So in brackets, we need to type all of our fields in here, and it's important to note they do not need any sort of quotations. You just type them as plain text. Okay, so the first one is, if we click on structure and we can see all of the fields. The first one, right now we don't need to type ID, and the reason for that is this auto increments. If you look here, auto increment, this will just add its own value each time, so we don't need to use this. So the first one technically is username. So if we go back onto here, in the first part of the brackets type username, and then we have a comma. Remember, there's no there's no quotations. The second one is password, so comma password, comma, and the next one is first, which is going to be the first name, comma, and then the last one is last. Okay, so far we just have insert into users2. It sounds logical, and in brackets we're just specifying the fields that we want to insert data into. Now all we need to do is type values, and then in commas the same thing again, but in this case we need to have quotations to specify the data we want to enter into it. So I'm going to use this in single quotations because we have double quotations around this variable. So you put a single quotation and then the first value we're going to enter. Now what you need to do is you need to make sure the values you enter in here match up to the values you enter in here, and by that I mean the first parameter, the first set of data that's here needs to be the username, and then after the comma, the second, there must be the password, because you can change these around, you can enter it the same way, and it will just insert like this, the first one here as the first one here, second one here, second one here, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry if you don't understand what that means, but just try and watch it over again. So the username, we're going to insert a username as teach me computer. That'll be our username. Well, actually that might be a bit long because we specified a short limit, so we'll just type Chris as the username, and then we need to have a comma, and then in brackets again the password, we'll just put that as pass123, something simple, then have a comma and then a space, and then we're going to have a first name, it's going to be Chris, and then the last value, which is the last name, is going to be Johnson. Okay, so let's just look over this one more time so we're just clear on what's happening. We just say insert into users2, so we're just specifying that we want to insert into the table insert into the table users2, and then in brackets we just specify each field that we want to insert into. So we could take out this password and then just have username first and last, and then we just have 3 values here, or we could put last as the second value here, and then it would insert pass123 as the last name. So these are very important, the way you organize these. And then we type values, and in brackets we have the values you want. So username will be Chris, password, pass123, and so on. So almost forgot our semicolon here. Type that there and hit save. So this was called data.php. So if we go here, you'll see we've presented with no error. That means it should have worked. If you go into here, click on users2, we have all of the information we have here: Chris, pass123, Chris Johnson, and you can see it also inserted the ID for us. So if we just visit this again, it will insert the same ones again, and you'll see it has ID as 2. So it worked. Everything was done correctly. That's how to insert data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how you can customize it so a user can insert data. Do I have enough time? I think I do. Actually I don't. Looking at the clock, because we've got a 15-minute limit, I probably wouldn't be able to set it all up, but I'll do that in the next video, or I'll leave that until the community videos. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully this helped. I'm sorry for the big break, but I'm not going to lie and say I was like doing exams. I was just been playing Modern Warfare 3 the whole time, and it's Oh, it's so good. I hope you guys are enjoying the game as well. So make sure, if you have any questions, as I said, look through. First step is to look through my videos. Second step is to comment on this video with the question. And then if I don't get around to seeing the comment by accident, then just leave me a PM as well. So I'll see you guys later, and peace.